So Coffee Crawl is an event that we put on with some local businesses, Pleasant City Coffee, Dreamer, Kaya Coffee House, Narrative Valley Coffee Roasters, and Green Tree Co-op, where people can go around, they buy a ticket, they come to the CM Life office, they pick up their mug, and then they can go to these coffee shops and try samples and enjoy the events that are going on at the coffee shop.
Narrativity started in 2014. We started roasting coffee. It was a hobby of Aaron's for a long time, and it was something, having a coffee shop was always something we wanted to do. But the more we looked into it and played around with the idea, the more we realized we wanted to start with the roasting aspect of things, so that we could have a product that we owned, that we were proud to serve, that we had control over. And there's an art and a craft in the roasting process, and that fit Aaron really well, his personality and who he is, and he really enjoyed that. And so he kind of manages that side of things, and I manage the cafe side of things, and there's constant working together because it's our life and our business. And story is just become something that's really important to us, especially as we had kids now. And I don't want to make it like all about kids and all that stuff, but we do have kids and they're awesome, and story is really important, and telling the next generation the story, and our lives are built on story. And when you sit down for a cup of coffee, you're sharing your story, whether it's from the day or last year, or you know, you have this experience when you were a kid, or whatever it is. Your lives are built on stories and storytelling, and telling the story of coffee plays into that. And Aaron and I, coffee's always been a part of our story, and you just keep coming back to that. And so we decided on training wheels for our logo. Part of the strange thing with the third wave coffee movement is that oftentimes the logo has nothing to do with coffee. So a lot of times people think it's a coffee grinder, but it's not. They're training wheels. And for us personally, it represents kind of taking the training wheels off, growing up, moving forward. And that's something we feel everybody can relate to, this really basic point in time where you actually were a kid and you took the training wheels off and you rode on your own. And we're always doing that in life, trying to move forward.
Pleasant City Coffee started almost 3 years ago now. September will be 3 years, and I wanted to bring a central place for people to come downtown Mount Pleasant to support the downtown business district and bring the community together around a good cup of coffee. I like coffee because coffee says community. People come together over a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, and there wasn't an actual coffee shop in Mount Pleasant at that point downtown. There used to be when I worked years ago, and it was a place I learned from the community aspect of that first experience, that people come together, ideas happen, things change, movement happens with the community, and people need coffee to get through their day, and so coffee was an easy way to start with my experience. We work with Uncommon Coffee Roasters. I think that's a unique product because they go and travel to all the sources that they bring back to the country, because coffee doesn't really grow in the United States, obviously not in Michigan. And so to bring those products to us without any other way for me to do that, they go right to the farms, make sure there's no child labor, make sure they use sustainable environmental processes, and the water, in Peru, for instance, that we have now, they're making sure that they keep the water flowing and in clean, sustainable ways. And I really like those ability for them to go do that for me, and I can bring it to Mount Pleasant, which is an amazing concept. Creativity, comes with the element of drinking coffee. A lot of folks, when they get in the creative moment, they're drinking coffee, they're presenting themselves to a higher element, which is the vibration of caffeine, right? And I think when you go to a coffee shop, you see that there's culture. There's people in different ways presenting different ideas, and with art you can do that in a coffee shop. The name itself, Pleasant City, is every city can be a pleasant city. And I think that is what the philosophy is of Pleasant City Coffee. It's not just about the shop, not just about coffee, it's that the city around us can be a pleasant place to live. So you come to Pleasant City for a cup of coffee, it's a pleasant experience.
The Dreamer started because it was our owner's American dream. He was a foreign exchange student from China, and he was a graduate student at the time, and so it was his American dream to start a coffee shop. And that's where we got our name from. That's why we call our customers Dreamers, because everyone who walks through the door, they're part of that American dream and keeping that dream going. And that's how we got our start and why we're here today. I think for our role in the community, we're still trying to figure that out. We're still very much a baby business. We're not even 3 years old. So I think by being in the community, we're sort of starting to figure out what our role is, but I don't think we know it just yet. We do have our plans. We have a plot out back that we'd really like to turn into a community garden, just because there isn't any this far south of downtown. We definitely like to think of ourselves as a safe space because we have so many people from all over the world, and it is sort of kind of a scary time for many people and for many different groups on campus. This is somewhere that you can come and you can be yourself. You can, have your latte in a neutral space and in a loving space. And because that's what we really, there's a lot of love that goes into your coffee, and there's a lot of love that we want to put out into the community. And we're still figuring out how to do that, but I think by being a safe space and by being conscious of the environment with our cleaning products and our light bulbs and all those little things that hopefully will grow into a bigger impact, I think that's a good place for us to start with our role in the community. For the Coffee Crawl, we're going to have our community canvas for the third year in a row. And all that is we have a canvas, and it doesn't matter who you are, what your artistic ability, come in, and even if it's just a brush stroke on there, get some paint on there, get something up, and be a part of that. We love, and again, the community is going to be what's going to decorate our walls, and we love having a piece that is not just one artist, it's everyone who can come through. From 6 to 9, we're going to be having some people perform music, even poetry. We haven't actually locked down our artists just yet, but we're working on that. So from 6 to 9, come on in, stop by, and we're going to have drink specials, we're going to have samples, and it's going to be a good time. We're really excited. We look forward to Coffee Crawl every year.
Started in 2001. It was opened by a father and a daughter, who then a few years later gave it to their best friends. And then they had it for 7 years, and we bought it off from them. That's why we still keep to the hand tamping. We do the latte art. We do all sorts of everything, because coffee is a beautiful thing. And every person, everyone's supposed to hit that 30-pound mark when they tamp the espresso, so you get the perfect pulse. Some people are stronger than others, so you always know that. If Paul's making this drink, it's going to taste more like this. If Emily's making this drink, it's going to taste more on the sweeter side. So you always know that it's going to be different, but in a positive way, because it's your own creation of what you think is great.
Green Tree's role in the Mount Pleasant community is not just that of a grocery store. We definitely provide a lot of things that can be harder to find other places. Allergen-free foods, local products, those vegan, vegetarian options, things made by small businesses. But beyond just having those products, we're also supporting those small industries. We're supporting the farmers. We're providing them an outlet to reach consumers that they wouldn't be able to reach on their own. Same thing with, we have a woman who hand makes chapstick, and we carry her chapsticks. We have soaps made by a person who used to order for our wellness section. We help build these connections and give people a place to reach out to the rest of the community. And then on top of that, I think it's also just really good to have this place that can be more responsive to your needs. If a person goes into a large grocery store and they can't find the item that they want, a lot of the time you're just out of luck. Whereas here we can say, we're going to look through all of the companies that we order from, we're going to talk to our local people, and we're going to find you something, and we can order it just for you if we want to. So besides the economic things and the choice that we provide in the building, we also offer a kind of flexibility and ownership of your choices that isn't available everywhere else. So in addition to being focused on companies that use renewable energy, that use minimal packaging and those types of things, we're also concerned about production standards beyond just organic. There are some crops that are particularly problematic the way that they're usually produced, two of the big ones being chocolate and coffee. Coffee can be really hard on the environment, and there are actually a lot of issues facing coffee farmers right now in terms of like increased heat and humidity causing coffee rust, causing plants to die. And so we really want to support these small, sustainable coffee farmers as much as we possibly can, because that's how we're going to be able to continue to have coffee going forward, and I don't think anybody wants us to not have coffee.